So captain or pilot flying, when your pilot monitoring reports back to you what exactly has happened, trust but verify that that is the case. And it takes nothing more than maybe 10 seconds to scan the engine instruments and verify that that is in fact what you have. So now, if you have memory items, we always do the memory items first, right? So engine fire, severe damage. If that's the case, how do I know? As mentioned, 0 and 1, 0 and 2, I get no oil quantity, right? I will say memory items, engine fire, severe damage, or separation. And I will orchestrate them as the pilot flying, as the captain. They're looking for you to lead the show, man. So auto throttle, lift, engage, disengage. I'm speaking out loud. Thrust lever affected engine, confirm close, right? Start lever affected engine, this one's done by the pilot monitoring. Start lever, confirm cutoff, fire switch pull. Pilot flying, why do you close the thrust lever? Because you're the pilot flying. So if you close the wrong one, who's gonna know? You're gonna know, you're the one flying. Some people say, well, I'm not on fire, so I'm not gonna pull the fire switch. Well, you gotta understand what pulling the fire switch does. It does not discharge the squib, it only arms the squib. In addition to that, it closes the fuel shutoff valve, it trips the generator, closes the hydraulic shutoff valve, closes the bleed air valve. It arms the squibs if we need them. It inhibits the thrust reverser. It inhibits the low pressure light on the hydraulic system. It does all these things, which is the equivalent of taking the engine off of the wing without actually doing it. I'm not pulling the fire switch because I'm trying to discharge a bottle. I'm pulling the fire switch because the engine's damaged and ideally I want the thing off of my wing. But since I'm in mid-flight, I can't take it off. But the best I can do is isolate it from the rest of the airplane by closing all the valves. That's the reason for pulling the fire switch. If you're on fire, then I'll rotate it because now my squibs are armed. But if there's no rotation of the switch, it's not going to discharge. So don't be confused by that either. All right. Now, memory items complete. Checklist. The checklist always follows the memory items, right? So once we say, okay, we got captain, memory items are complete, and you'll know because you're narrating them, captain. We go for the checklist. Pilot monitoring, you read through the checklist. You've already completed most steps. Okay. There's a few things that you haven't quite done yet, but most of it is already complete. And then the checklist will direct you to the one engine in operative landing checklist. Okay, so remember, we just finished the non-normal. Now we do the normal checklist. All right, if you're taking notes, that would be the sequence right now. Okay, if you have like 4, 5, 6 days to your check ride and you're behind on other normal call-outs, like 400 feet heading LNAV, 1,000 feet, speed 210, platform, flaps up, right? If you're behind on those and you have minimal sessions left, I would not try to memorize the non-normal sequence of checklists. What I would do is take the handout that I'm going to send out and just shrink it to a note card and carry the note card with you so you can follow the steps, right? And the only reason I say this is because it goes back to allocating time. First impressions are a big thing. The first thing the examiner is going to see is not the engine failure. You're not going to take off on your first takeoff and have a V1 cut. That's just not the way it goes. You will, however, do a takeoff, and you will have normal callouts. If you're struggling with the normal callouts right now and you're only a few days away from your check ride, you need to focus on that because first impression. The examiner knows in the first 10, 15 minutes if you're going to pass the thing or not.